The morning Ethan Carter missed his interview, the sky hung low and grey, threatening rain but never committing to it. He stood outside his small apartment garage, wiping grease from his hands with a rag already stained beyond saving. At 35, his life smelled of oil, metal and missed chances. He had rebuilt engines that others declared dead, designed custom parts from scrap, and fixed problems no diagnostic computer could explain. Yet none of that mattered today. What mattered was the interview waiting downtown, the one opportunity that could finally pull him out of the cycle of small jobs and unpaid brilliance. He glanced at his phone again. 40 minutes to make it across town. Tight, but possible. He grabbed his jacket, locked the garage, and slid into his old pickup. The engine purred softly, a sound he trusted more than most people. As he pulled onto the street, he rehearsed answers in his head, thinking of how to explain his unconventional background without sounding defensive or desperate. 2 blocks later, traffic slowed to a crawl. At the intersection ahead, a crowd had gathered. A delivery van sat awkwardly angled near the curb, hazard lights blinking uselessly. And beside it, partially blocking the sidewalk ramp, was a woman in a wheelchair. Her chair had tipped slightly, one wheel stuck in a crack near the curb. People stood around her, some staring, some pretending not to notice, none actually helping. Ethan cursed under his breath. He checked the time again. He could still make it if he didn't stop. Someone else would help. Surely someone would. Then he saw her face. She looked to be about 30, dressed simply but elegantly, her posture upright despite the awkward angle of the chair. Her hands gripped the armrests tightly, not panicked, but controlled. What struck him most was her expression. Not fear, not embarrassment, just quiet frustration sharpened by dignity. A driver honked behind him. Ethan sighed, turned off the engine, and stepped out. "Hey," he called gently as he approached. "Let me help you." Some of the bystanders stepped back, relieved to hand responsibility to someone else. Ethan crouched, examining the stuck wheel. "Don't worry," he said. "Happens more than you think. Bad curb design." She studied him closely. "I don't need to be carried," she said calmly. "Just unstuck." "Fair enough," he replied, smiling slightly. With careful movements, he adjusted the chair, shifting weight just enough to free the wheel without tipping her further. It took strength and precision, but within seconds, the chair rolled smoothly again. "There," he said. "You're good." "Thank you," she said. "Most people either ignore it or overdo it." "Machines taught me that force isn't always the answer," Ethan replied. "Sometimes it's leverage." That earned a small smile. Rain finally began to fall, light at first. Ethan checked the time again and grimaced. He was cutting it dangerously close now. "Are you okay? Getting where you're going?" he asked. "Yes," she said, then paused. "Actually, no." He looked at her in surprise. "My car's been acting up," she continued. "The driver dropped me off here because it wouldn't start again. I was supposed to meet someone. Important meeting." Ethan glanced at the van. He could already feel the weight of the choice pressing down on him. What kind of problem? She tilted her head slightly. "It stalls randomly. Dashboard lights flicker. No error codes." Ethan's eyes sharpened. "Electrical grounding issue or failing alternator," he said immediately. "Could be a loose connection." She blinked. "You diagnosed that very fast." "I'm a mechanic," he said. "Mechanical engineering background, mostly engines, but electricity follows rules too." She hesitated. "Could you look at it?" He looked at the sky, the street, his phone. The interview felt suddenly fragile, like a soap bubble. "I have somewhere I'm supposed to be," he admitted. "But, yeah, I can look." They moved to the van. Ethan popped the hood, rain soaking into his jacket as he leaned in. Within minutes, he spotted the issue. A poorly secured ground cable, corroded just enough to cause intermittent failure. "Found it," he said. "Whoever serviced this last did a lazy job." He tightened the connection, cleaned it as best he could with what he had, and tested the ignition. The engine turned over smoothly. Her eyes widened slightly. "That was fast." "Fast doesn't mean rushed," he said, closing the hood. "You should replace the cable soon, though. This is temporary." She nodded. "What do I owe you?" "Nothing," Ethan said. "Just get where you need to go." Rain picked up as the driver returned, relieved. As they prepared to leave, she looked at Ethan again. "You missed something important, didn't you?" He hesitated, then nodded. "An interview." "I'm sorry," she said. He shrugged. "Sometimes timing decides for you." They parted ways, and Ethan returned to his truck, knowing without checking that he'd missed his slot. The drive home felt longer than usual. By the time he reached his garage, disappointment had settled in, heavy and familiar. 2 days later, his phone rang. "Ethan Carter?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes?" "This is from Aurora Dynamics. We'd like to invite you for a second interview." Ethan froze. "Second?" "Our CEO requested it personally." Confused but hopeful, Ethan agreed. The building he entered days later was sleek and modern, glass and steel reflecting ambition. He wore his best shirt, hands still bearing faint traces of grease no soap could fully erase. As he was guided into the executive office, his nerves buzzed with uncertainty. The door opened. Inside, by the window, sat the woman from the street, the same calm posture, the same sharp eyes, still in a wheelchair. Ethan stopped short. She turned and smiled. "Hello again." "You're the CEO," he said, stunned. "Yes," she replied. "My name is Claire Donovan." His mind